Welcome to the show today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to win the insurance game. Today, we have with us Mr. Ryan. He's the founder of Rogue Risk. Rogue Risk helps business owners and leaders rethink and recalibrate their business practice in order to take control of both their direct insurance costs and the resulting in indirect costs of risk. With over 15 years experience in the insurance business, Rogue Risk is a unique firm leveraging technology and out of the box thinking to serve middle market clients throughout the Northeast. Mr. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's who wrote that? I don't even, if it was me, I don't remember. That was pretty good.
Well, it sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
So you've been in this thing a long time. Tell us, how did you even get started in the insurance business?
Oh my gosh. So I got started in insurance because I wanted to marry my wife. Her father owned an independent insurance agency, and we had been dating for a couple of years. We were living in New York City, and we wanted to move back home, which for me is upstate New York, Albany area. And I had like a bunch of jobs. I'd worked in an accounting firm. I worked for American Express. I worked for, basically I was good at math, so I could always find a job, but I never really liked my job. That's probably the best way to put it. So we're moving home. I think my father-in-law wanted to pretty much guarantee that he could like keep his eye on me and make sure that I wasn't a bum. So so during Christmas party, this is back in 2005, I guess. Yeah, 2005. He basically pulled me out of the party, sat me down in like this old leatherback chair in the office of his house. Like this is like I got out of a mafia movie. And he basically was like, heard you're looking for a job. And I said, well, yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I'm thinking sales. I'd like to try sales. And he said, I think you should come work for me. And it was like one of those statements where you just kind of say, okay, yep, sure. Yep. Whatever you say. If that gets me in the family, then I'm cool. So, so I started hawking home and autos and writing kind of small commercial lines policies, did that for 8 years. Being the son-in-law, I kind of hit a ceiling to as far as I could go in that business. I was really driven to the technology side of insurance as well. And the agency, for as much as it's an incredibly run agency, it still exists today. They still do a very good job. They were traditional. And I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, just they were. So I ended up taking a position as a chief marketing officer for a national insurance technology company called Trusted Choice. I built a platform called Agency Nation, which was one of the largest digital media companies in the insurance industry. I left there in 2018 to take another chief marketing officer position. I left there to take the CEO position of another company. And just a whole bunch of circumstances led to in October of 2019, I didn't really want to do any of that anymore. And I'd always had this vision of what I believed a commercial insurance agency could be. I thought that particularly small and middle market risks, companies, dropped into insurance vernacular for a second, small and middle market companies were wholly underserved by the current way that insurance was provided to them. And I wanted to mash up the best version of the traditional way that business was done with the best version of the way digital insurance was delivered, and come up with a hybrid that was easy to do business with and transparent, but at the same time still had that human touch that I think is important. And so I founded Rogue Risk in March 9th of 2020, and we're still here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's been a long journey to get to this point.
Yes. Yep.
So you specialize in the technological piece of insurance. So tell us, what are the advantages of a business owner having an insurance policy?
Yeah. So, essentially you're doing your business a disservice if you don't have some basic forms of insurance. And the reason for that is sustainability. I find a lot of times people that don't have insurance think that they've like figured out some hack, like, oh, you're the dummy, you have insurance. I save, I save on insurance. And truthfully, you're not you're not running your business properly. Insurance is there so that when you have a bad day, you get to keep your business. And I find it either naive or purposefully ignorant when someone thinks they can get away without having insurance. It's just not possible. Everyone has a risk. And that risk is substantial. And if your business is meaningful to you, you'll have insurance to back it up. And I say that very matter of factly because um, this is the real world. It's just you can try to skate by, but eventually you're going to get caught. I've just seen it. I've been in the business for a long time, and I don't mean caught like I'm going to catch you. I could care less. It's your business. But you're going to get caught like someone's going to slip and fall, or you're going to give someone advice and it's going to be bad advice and they're going to sue you, or you're going to have a subcontractor working for you and you don't realize in your state you have a contractual obligation to their safety, and they're going to sue you for injuries, even if those injuries are repeated action injuries like typing on a keyboard. I see a lot of people getting banged with cyber risk. I've had 2 companies call me this week who had cyber claims that shut their business down in the last year because 60% of all small businesses will receive a cyber attack, at least one cyber attack this month. And that goes up every month. So there are a myriad of risks that every business has, regardless if it's a solopreneur or all the way up to a Fortune 500. And insurance is the foundation upon which you can you grow your business. You can take risks if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, you can't take risks because any risk puts you at danger of going out of business. So I think there's a common misconception that insurance is expensive. It doesn't have to be. I think there's common misconceptions that it's hard to deal with. Again, it doesn't have to be. And those are some of the problems that we're trying to fix.
So, what do you think are some of the components that, when, let's say, for instance, like the insurance that most businesses get are general insurance, right? General liability insurance,
General
which most
liability.
businesses,
Yep. That's the
yeah,
first one most people
that's
think
the
of.
first one I always think of, right? But what are the misconceptions of the other pieces that people normally don't add to general liability insurances? What is something that every business should have other than the mandated general liability insurance?
Yep. So the first one is workers' comp. It There is a wide spread of misinformation around who needs workers' comp and when they need it. Depending on this is state specific, so I'm going to talk in generalities, but um, basically, someone always has to pay comp. That's what it comes down to. It's either you or it's them. You don't get away with a hierarchy. Think of any situation that is hierarchical. I'm butchering the pronunciation of that word, but I'm sure we all know what I'm trying to say. And you can tell it's Friday afternoon. And so any situation where you dictate when someone is in a certain spot, how much they get paid and the things they need to do, you're responsible for their comp unless they have a comp policy. So let me take a case in point. This is very, very common in contracting fields. So I do renovations. When I need to have the plumbing done in the renovations, I don't really do plumbing. I'm going to have a plumber come in and do the plumbing part of the renovation. Okay. Well, if you tell that plumber, hey, show up whenever you want, figure out what needs to be done, do it, and then just tell me what needs to be paid. Well, that situation, maybe you can make the case that they are a true independent contractor and that there isn't a relationship. But that's never going to actually happen. What actually happens is, hey man, I need you there by noon. I need you to put these 3 pipes in. I need you to plumb the new toilet that I put in, and I'm going to pay you $750. In that situation, that is a true subcontractor, and you are responsible for their safety. You're certainly responsible from a workers' comp perspective, again, in most states, for the fact that if they get hurt, they're going to come after you. And if you don't have a workers' comp policy, you have no defense against that. That's coming out of your pocket, your business. And now what most people say is, I'm too small. They're never going to catch me, or they're a subcontractor. Subcontractors, that means nothing. That's one of the most common misconceptions. You are responsible for subcontractors unless they have their own comp policy. You're responsible for their comp because if they get hurt, it's somebody's fault. Now, again, There are certain circumstances where this isn't true, but let's take another one. Remote employees. Okay. A lot of people are doing remote employees. A lot of people doing independent contractors, 1099s. Okay. So if you have an employee, a VA, let's take a virtual assistant. Now it has to be a US based virtual assistant. If they're outside the country, there's all kinds of different stuff. You're not liable for their workers' comp if they're out of the country. But let's say you sit in Florida and you have a VA that sits in Tennessee. Okay. And true, you'd send them a 1099. The other thing may be that but you tell them, hey, I really need you to log in at 8. And you're kind of responsible for my emails and phone calls, and I need you to do some accounting stuff, and you're done by 4. That person works for you. You have to pay workers' comp on that person. That's you have to pay workers' comp for them. And if you ever get audited, you're going to get a bill and a fine for not having workers' comp on them. So that's number one. That was way too long. The second is cyber. Cyber today, all that someone needs to do to have a cyber risk is use your name and an email that looks like yours and send it to someone you know and say, hey man, can I get that $100 that you owe me? And as soon as they go to wire that information, they rip the account numbers and they take 50. You're responsible for that.
Oh,
That's a
wow.
cyber risk. Everybody, every business has a cyber exposure. And actually, some homeowners insurance companies have started adding cyber exposures because these cyber criminals are starting to ping malware off of Wi-Fi and like network stuff. So they'll jump from network to network in your neighborhood. But every business, you could be the smallest little solo woman shop, but if someone uses your information and your contact list to fish another business, you are responsible for that.
Wow. Nobody really ever thinks about cybersecurity. You know what I mean? Nobody ever think
No,
about that they're going to get a cyber, and literally somebody's always trying to hack into your email. Somebody's
always.
always trying to get your information, and we never think about that. But when you get insurance, can any insurance be customized? Can you always customize your insurance plan?
So it really depends on. So yes and no. There are standard coverages, and if you're a true small business, you're not going to go to the Hartford and say I want a custom paper. That's one. It wouldn't be economical for you to do that, and two, they're not going to do that. But you can customize what you need. So there's a policy called a BOP, or a business owner's policy, fairly standardized set of coverages. There are then additional endorsements that you can add as needed. I'd say most businesses, in most cases, a business owner's policy is going to cover most of the things they need. So as a baseline, that's a pretty good place to start. Um, but then really and look, I'm an independent agent, so I'm biased, but I always say find a human that you trust, that's easy to do business with, that's willing to listen to you, and then trust what they recommend. Now, if you make a bad pick and that person gives you the wrong insurance, you picked a bum. That's your fault. But if you pick a good insurance agent, listen to what they say, because they're compensated based on what you buy. I get that. And there's a bit of a moral hazard there. But if they're a trustworthy person, and I promise you, no one is getting rich off of any small business account. What you actually pay for insurance and what your insurance agent actually gets paid is way, way different. Somewhere between 9 and 12% commission. So you do the math. If you're paying $1,000, they made $100 to work with you. That's not a lot of money. So, even if they're advocating, hey, I think you should have a BOP and comp, think about a commercial umbrella and some cyber insurance. Okay, maybe all told, that's $3,500 a year. They're still making $300. So no one's getting rich off trying to build out a proper package. So if you pick an insurance agent you trust, let them work through what your risks are. And as long as you can afford it and it seems to make sense, I think of insurance not as an expense, but like I said, the foundation upon which you can take the risks that you need in order to grow. And I think if you reframe it that way, it makes a lot more sense as to why you need it. And it's a little easier to swallow the pill when you write that check every month.
Absolutely. Why why do business owners need an insurance partner, an insurance agency partner? Why is
You
that
don't
important?
need one. So you don't. So if I'm being fair, you can DIY it, right? But I do think that it's a bit hypocritical for any business owner to say, I'm an expert in what I do, but I can buy insurance direct myself, right? Because that
Right.
florist is saying, hey, don't go to 1-800-Flowers, come to my flower shop. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go direct to the carrier and buy insurance myself. So I think that if you believe in the professionalism of any industry, um, again, it comes down to finding the right person. So unfortunately, in the insurance industry, there are people that are good and there are people that are not as good. And
Absolutely.
small business owners in particular, when you get up into the middle market, and by middle market, I mean you're paying $100,000 in insurance premiums or more. Anything less than that is considered small business, give or take. And if you're in small business, this is the reality. And I don't want this to come off the wrong way. It is very hard for insurance agents to be profitable writing small business insurance. Just think about what I just said. I'm probably going to spend 3 to 5 hours on an account that's $3,500 in premium that's going to make me $300 of gross. That's before you pay for any of the things that you need to pay for as a business. So there's not a lot of margin there. So what happens is, for small business in particular, is they get underserved, and my insurance agent shows up once a year, if ever, to deliver my renewal. I haven't talked to that person in years. I don't know what I have. So I'm going to go online. I'm going to punch some numbers into a computer and I'm going to get a quote. I guarantee it's going to be less than what you're paying now, mostly because you have no idea that there's tremendous number of exclusions on those policies and what have you. And I'm going to purchase that and I'm going to think I'm covered until I find out that I'm not. So this is part of the problem that I'm trying to solve at Rogue, is by using technology, I'm able to provide a higher level of service, but able to do it in a way that makes it profitable for my business, so I can actually serve small business clients well while still paying our bills. And I think that's one of the things that separates us is, we don't use paper forms. We do like e-sign, just that one simple thing. That takes a lot of time out of our process. What do you care? You're just e-signing something. But by removing paper, it removes a cost and it removes time. So now that's a little more margin. And then there's other things in the process that allow us to bake in enough margin that now I can see you more than once a year. I can send you some materials. I can provide you with some value-added services without, allowing my business to still be profitable, so I can pay for my people and all the things that we need while still giving you a better service. And
Right.
I'm not the only one. There are other agents like me, and I would say find someone who operates in that space that you trust.
Right. So you think that this is going to be like the norm
Yes.
sometime in the future?
Yes. I consider myself a visionary. No, I'm just kidding. I do think that what we're trying to do at Rogue is on the leading edge of small commercial and middle market insurance. And that while I'm not the only one doing this, I am in a small group. And I do think more agencies will adopt the methodology that we're pioneering now as they try to serve these clients better. I think a lot won't, and that's where I see the opportunity and why I decided to serve this market. But I do think it will become more the norm over time.
That's good, because a lot of people are really going to the electronical portion of e-signing and things like that. Even banks do it now,
Yep.
So it's getting really popular. So for businesses that actually currently have an insurance plan, is there any way to reduce their current premium?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that you can do. I mean, I think one of those is, again, and this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it starts here, is if you're working with an agent that is looking out for your best interest. And I know that's very subjective thing. I'm not trying to underplay what that is. They're going to, like, okay, so we have a piece of technology that allows us to single point entry. So enter information one time. We can get rates from multiple commercial insurance carriers. So every year when we watch the premium, so premium comes up, we're starting to get renewals now. I get a premium renewal. Let's say it's 15% higher than it was the year before. Well, we see that comes in before the renewal. One of my team members goes out to this piece of technology we have, and we re-rate that person. And we're able to say, okay, hey, your renewal came in at 15% higher. We can keep you right where you are if we move you from X carrier to Y carrier. Or, hey, well, the market is hardening in general, so prices are going up for most people. You're going to see that, but um, hey, this carrier you're with, they're still the best. They're right where you should be. We shopped you out to these other companies, and for what you need, the program we built for you, the coverages that we agreed are right for your business, this is still the best carrier. So that's one way that you should do it. Workers' comp is a big place. There are safety programs and discounts that most business owners don't even know exist that you can qualify for by simply having a safety manual. If you can produce a safety manual, then there are discounts that you can apply for your workers' comp. You have to be able to produce it. You have to be able to say, hey, here it is. But if you have it, now that's one of the things that we do for our clients all the time. 2-3% discount. It's not huge, but we have a tool that it's almost like Mad Libs for safety manuals. We plug your information in and then we go through it with them and say, here's a general safety manual. How does that look for you? It's something to talk through with your employees, something for them to see. And by having it, it gets you a 3% discount with this carrier. So, things like that. But really the key is run a safe business, keep your claims down. Don't use your insurance policy for maintenance. And what I mean by that is dings and dents and nicks and scratches. These are things that come with owning a business, right? If you're using your policy for every little issue that happens, your premiums are going to go up and there's nothing you can do about it. You change carriers, your loss history travels with you. So make sure that when you use your policy, you're using it for a reason. You have a $10,000 loss. Hey, that's what insurance policy is for. Boom. That's exactly what it's for. You have a fire, you got to get it taken care of. That's what your policy is for. But you have a small leak in a bathroom and it's $1,500 to fix it. These are generic numbers, so please, but just giving you an idea. Fix the bathroom leak and pay for it out of your pocket. Don't put that claim in, or just be okay with your premiums going up. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there are some things that are just kind of the cost of doing business when you own a business or you rent a space. And there are other things that's what the policy is for. It's for catastrophic losses.
So tied into their workman's comp and trying to kind of lower your premiums, is that part of the Rogue Risk 365?
Yeah, I don't love the name. I've been toying with other names because it's so like the name of the agency is Rogue Risk and our program is called Rogue Risk 365. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We can talk about branding some other day. But yes. So I believe that there is a basket of value-added services that should be provided to every business that isn't, because like I said before, most agencies view small business and smaller middle market business as unprofitable, right? They would never say that to your face. I'm probably one of the only agents in the country that would tell you that. But like I said, through technology, I believe you can add these value. You can provide additional value, things like safety programs and online training and things that really help a business run smoother and safer. You can do it at scale and you can do it profitably. And that's why I built Road Risk 365. So it's things like certificate management. So every one of the or really any business that wants it, mostly contractors are the ones that utilize it because they use the most certificates. But we have a certificate management program, which allows you to track every certificate that you send out, every certificate that you request from someone else in one place. It creates an archive. It allows you a simple form to, like, you have a client that says, hey, I want a certificate. You say, no problem. You send them this form and they fill the form out and it automatically produces a certificate for them. So it's streamlining things. It's that. Like I said, I broke down a lot of the safety stuff. It's, we have a nurse triage program. We have a one-page on-demand bonding platform that allows people to purchase a bond. You can buy a bond right from your smartphone. So if you're standing at a job and someone drops hey, where's my bond? You can go, oh, shoot, I'm going to go to Rogue Risk and I'm going to get my bond right now and I'll have the certificate in 5 minutes. And, that's the kind of stuff that is possible. You just have to think, you have to think through the lens of a technologist who understands insurance. And I don't think most people do that.
That is actually kind of true. And that is fast to get a certificate that fast, right
Yeah.
on the spot. That's actually neat. Tell us where can we find more of your products? Give us your email and all the
Oh
other
yeah,
good
thank you.
information.
So if you want to see what my agency is about, go to roguerisk.com, ROGUE risk.com. So that's my agency. We work pretty much nationwide. Most of the clients we work with are kind of Texas East and North. But we do have clients spread throughout the country. We're based in New York, so as long as that doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother us. If you want to, I have an insurance podcast you can find at ryanhanley.com. Like LinkedIn, I'm Ryan at roguerisk.com. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy to, but I'm on all the socials and you can DM me. It's all good.
Good, man. It's been a pleasure to have you, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been great, and I just appreciate the platform.
Thank you for coming, man. It's a pleasure to have you, especially on a Friday afternoon where things are just dying down.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 little kids and they're about to come home, so it's not dying down for me.
Oh yeah, it's about to get live for you. All right, thank you, and join us next time on IBS.